Hey everybody, I hope you're looking forward to tonight. I am. We're going to be doing a tattooed tumbler. And when I turn you down, I'm going to show you what the tattoo looks like whole, and I'm going to show you where I cut it. It is a long sleeve tattoo, and I've cut it into 3 different pieces. And we're going to be putting it on a tumbler that I have already got the tumbler prepped and ready to go. And when I turn you down, I'll explain to you exactly what I did to it in order to get it ready for us to put the tattoo on. So we're going to turn you down and we're going to get started. And I'm going to get my computer all lined up and on and see if I can see what's going on. Give me just a minute and let me see if I can get it to come up. There's always a delay and it takes it a little while for me to be able to find it. But while we're waiting for it to come up, I'll let you see the tattoo. This is the way it looks in all 3 pieces, and I cut it at an angle. We're going to be using this piece, and we're going to be using this piece on the other side. And then this is a piece that we'll use later on another tumbler maybe. So let me move this out of the way and get something down here to sort of cover up so we won't make a mess. And we'll get the cup over here. I think you can see. Let me see if I can get you pulled up now so I can make sure you're in the screen. I don't know why it takes it a while to come up, but it does. And I'm not computer savvy enough to know how to make it do anything any different. And it's still not up, so anyway, I think you can see what's going on. But what I did to the cup, you know, I always, when I prep mine, I take the bottom and the top and bottom, and I sand them and clean them, and I spray painted this one white, and I put glow behind it because we're going to want that tattoo to glow when we get it on the cup. And this is what I used. I sprayed it on there 3 different times and let it dry in between each coat. And so now let's get our pieces over here. Look one more time, see if I can get it to come up, y'all. I'm quiet, but I'm concentrating. I don't know what's wrong with it, folks. It's not coming up tonight for some reason on my computer. We'll go back and in one more time. If it don't work this time, we'll just go ahead and do it without me seeing if everything's in place. Okay. Well, I see the announcement, but it's just not coming up. I'm hoping it's on your side. I know it's recording. It's live. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. And what I do, I always wet me a rag. That's what I use when I put it on there. And I'm going to hold it over my trash can so I won't get water everywhere as I wring some of it out. Don't want to wring a lot of it out. And I've got me a towel over here too. And my mat is rubber, so that way it will not go through and get everything wet. Okay. get the tattoos, they have a cover on them, and when you pull it off, it's sticky underneath. So don't ever pull that off until you're actually ready to put your tattoo on. And now this one, as you can see, I'm going to take it all the way to the top right here. I think I may get my scissors and cut that part off. Let's do that, and that way I can tell more about exactly where we want it. Okay. And now when you put it on there, you can't move it. Once it's on there, it's on there because it sticks. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to rub it around one side. And I'm going to rub it around the other side. Okay. Now we're going to lay our wet rag on there. And we're just going to let it tug it for a little bit. And when it's ready, you'll know it because that white paper on the tattoo will just slide all the way off. And while that's working, I'm going to see if I can get it to pull up one more time. I had some there at the shop, and I don't have them here to show them to you. Let me get this water out of the way. Bring it down just a little bit more. Now let's see if that's ready to come off. It is. Okay. Now you want to see if there's any bubbles in it. You can't move it a lot because you'll tear it. It's like a water slide. You don't want to move it a lot because you don't want to tear it. This is going to be a really pretty cup, I think, when we get through. And what I'll do, I won't come live tomorrow night, but after, I'll either get the epoxy on it tomorrow night or maybe Thursday morning. And whenever I get it on there, I will go back and post it, and I will have it glowing some in the dark, so you can see. We might even do that a little bit tonight and let you see what it looks like. But anything you see on it in here that's light and white, of course, after it's been out in the sun and you bring it back in, that part, all of this around in here is going to glow in the dark, because when we fill it in, we're not going to touch that part. Okay, now let's turn it around, and we're going to do the other side. Okay. Now, and pull the sticky off of this, and then try not to touch it where you've got the sticky. And the way I'm going to place this one on there, I'm going to try to place it so that there'll be room at the bottom for a name or something when somebody wants it. And this cup will be for sale if you know of anybody that might want it. We're just going to fix it so it'll sort of blend together. And it's okay if they overlap just a little bit on each side. The colors will blend together. But remember, if you've never done tattoos, you can't move them. They're not forgiving like a water slide. You can't move them. Now lay this back on there for a little bit and let's see if we can get it going. I still haven't been able to pull it up. I hope y'all can see it. I don't know what's wrong with it tonight. I will go back and answer any questions after the live, and I'll either answer them tonight or in the morning. Normally, I get to answer them the night that I'm doing the live, so we'll try to go in and do it. So we'll see how it goes. But I still can't get it to pull up, so we'll just save it and put it on there. Doesn't take long for it to get set where you can pull that layer off that's wet. And you want to take your time with it. You don't want to get in a big hurry. And you can see here where it overlapped, it just sort of blends in together, and when we get through the alcohol inks, it's going to blend even better. And on this side, let me see where it's overlapped just a little bit there. Okay. Now let's dry it off just a little bit. I don't see any bubbles in it, or I don't see any wrinkles in it. When you're doing a tattoo cup, you can do it on a curved tumbler, but they're a lot harder to do on a curved tumbler. But I'm going to put my gloves on before I start messing with the ink. And I'll be mixing some ink. If you notice up around the top, you can see a little bit of blue in the top of the clouds in with the gray. So that's what I'm going to be mixing. That's what I'm going to be shooting for. I'm going to try to mix up a color that will be a very pale blue. So I'm using blue ink, and I'm going to use some white ink. And then we'll go over it with another color. But remember, it's better to mix a little at a time than it is to do a lot. Because you can always put more in, but you can't take it out. And sometimes it's hard to get just a little bit in there. It's hard to get alcohol inks where they'll drop like you want them to. And I have a, use this for manicures, it's just a metal. It's used to push your cuticles back is really what it's used for. Okay, that's not as light as I want it, so I'm going to put a little bit more white in it. A little bit more white, and just another tinge of blue. It doesn't take alcohol ink long to dry up. It will dry up in a hurry. Okay. And I think we got the color we want. And this is what I'm using to put it on. I found a container of these. I don't remember if it was Michael's or where it was. It's got flat ones, and then it's got this kind in there. It's just little sponges, and I just can control them a little bit better. And I have a piece of wax paper that I can dab it on so that I don't put so much on at one time, because you can, like I said, you can always go back and add more, but you can't take away. And this, I'll be going in and putting some gray on it to make it so it's not quite so blue once I get the blue on there as a base. And we're just going to go around the edge like that. You can see where I'm just dabbing it on there. I think you can see it. Okay. Now I'm going to go in and see if I can make a gray color. And I'm taking black, very little black. Black, as you know, if you work with cups, will take over in a heartbeat. If you're dropping alcohol onto a cup to do any kind of a swirl, a fireman's cup or anything, you certainly don't want to use much black because it will take over. Let's see if that's gray looking. Now I'm going to put just a little bit of teak wood. When I do my fireman cups, I use, I have to get my pliers to open it. When I do a fireman's cup, I use teak wood instead of black. Okay. And it takes over pretty good too. And that's not the color I want, so let me see if I can get it to do it. Just dropping it on the wax paper. And then I'm going to drop just a little bit of this pearl white in it. See if that mixes better than the actual white ink. A little bit more. You just trial and error. You have to keep messing with it till you get it like you want it. Now that's getting a little bit better. Don't want the blue. So now we're going to go in. We're going we'll leave just a tinge of the blue showing, but not much. Just keep dabbing it, and remember, you can always go back over it if you want to with another color if it's not coming out the color that you want it to be. Blue sky where they're flying up in there, shining through. Not a lot. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to do more of a darker color. Try to get the white ink to work a little bit better. And I'm sorry I can't even begin to see any of the comments because I can't even get it to pull up on my computer. Now I am going to use the same little sponge using the black because I'm not going to do any more of the blue. And then we're going to go in and just barely tap it. Get it in there just a little bit. And we will go back and go over this with another color. Just have to get them to blend. You can do this too with an airbrush, if you use an airbrush. Now but it's got a purple tinge to it, so I'll have to go back in with the teak wood and go over it just a little bit. And down in here you can see this has got a little bit of the blue look in it. Go back with a little bit of the teak wood now. Blend it together. And have you noticed that for some reason when you're using black, it seems to always have a blue tinge to it? And I don't know why it does that, but it does. And then if you want to thin it down some, just take you some alcohol. And put in with it. That's better. Dab it off because you don't want to put it on there full strength. Then lighten it up as you go in to mix it with the other color. Just barely tap it. And in here we're going to start blending it. Blend over in with the other. I may get up and get a little bit of gray paint when I get through with this. Help take a little bit of the blue out of it. Blend this and shade it. But I hadn't figured out a way that I can work with my airbrush and keep it on camera and not get paint. I certainly don't want to do that. So when I figure that out, I may use my airbrush a little bit. I am in no means am I an airbrush artist. I just use it just to for things like this to blend in. And I was a paint splatter cup. And it turned out really, really, really well. Really, really well. The main thing you're wanting to do is just break these lines that are so bold and make it blend in with the cup. Then it just makes such a difference once you get your epoxy on it in the look that you get. If you will, some of you that's worked with alcohol inks or airbrushes, leave me some comments so when I do get to pull it up and I can see it, that I'll know if you have. But the main things when you're working with them, you just got to keep trying different techniques and just see what you can get to work for you, and just keep in mind that no two people do things alike. So your way will be your way, and it doesn't make it a wrong way if you do it different than anybody else. We just have to figure out what works for us as individuals. Go back and do a little bit more of the blue in here. Soften it up just a little bit. And I don't know what that is that dropped on there. More in the alcohol. As I said, alcohol dries up really fast. If you've worked with it, you know it does. I'm going to run get some gray paint, so give me just a minute. See if I can get that to blend like I want it to. Won't take me but just a shake to find it. There we go. And this is just the apple barrel from Walmart in gray. And we'll get a new dabber and get most of it off so that then you can just start dabbing it and blending it. And I am dabbing that on wax paper. Just keep working with it until it comes like you want it to and sort of blends in like you want it to. Oh, got a big lot on it there. More than I wanted. Okay. Didn't take a lot. And you can see the gray right in here in the cup. And what I'm doing where I put that black, I'm just putting a little bit lighter touch to it so that we can sort of see. Make it blend a little bit better. That way it's not quite so bold. Then you'll have room in this area where I'm working now that if anybody needed a name or a monogram on it. And they do make names. I forgot I want his initials on it. Right in there. I'm going to put a little bit more of the dark. Whoops. And once you get your ink, if it starts to dry up, you can drop just a little bit of alcohol in it, and it comes to life again. Putting this around the bottom so it won't, that white won't show through. Now that's looking pretty much like I want it to. Just a little bit lighter right in there. Barely tapping it in that area. Just to make it sort of blend over just a little bit. And this would be a good cup too to do a smoke effect on. Just have to be really careful so you don't cover up your tattoo. Now I'm going to put some white and see if I can get some a little bit of curves for the clouds. I'll get it to shake up. This must not be very good ink. It is not cooperating the way I want it to. Dabber. I'm just mashing that down with my hands to make it blend a little bit better and look more like a cloud. Now what I'm going to do is turn the light out and let you see it with the UV light, which is what it will look like when you've been outside in the sun and you come back in, and it will show you what it looks like. But I'll have to go over to the other side of the room to turn the light out, so I'll be back in just a shake, and then I'll show you what it looks like. And I'll have to close my computer, I think, for you to be able to see it. I'm going to turn this on it, and then I'll turn the light out and let you see. And then tomorrow I will post a picture of it with the epoxy on it. Turn it just a little bit. There you can see what it looks like. And once they've been out in the sun a little while, they really pop where you want them to glow. Well, okay, I think that's going to be about it for tonight. And I will, like I said, I'll put the epoxy on it tomorrow, and I'll post it so you can see it tomorrow. And y'all have a blessed evening.